frustrating in a game like this where second time in a rough week where you can't get going in the first half?
Yeah, it's real frustrating. And I think there's a clear difference between this week's first half and last week's first half. We hurt ourselves a lot with turnovers last week, and necessarily turnovers, but talking to the guys in the locker room, we can't really put our finger on what it is, and that's the real frustrating part. We got to convert third downs, of course, but aside from that, we just got to make plays, and it's not on the coaches, it's not on anybody else, it's on us, and I think the guys understand that, and we'll be better moving forward, and we'll figure this out. We know this isn't who we are as a team, definitely not these past two games. What we've shown is not what is acceptable to us.
For you personally, how much do you think you improved this week, and how much closer to becoming yourself again do you feel like you are?
Well, I'm not going to, this is not an individual sport, so we lost the game. Stats don't matter. It's just you got to go win. So I can't really answer that question.
Hang on a second. Guys, is there a mobile box? It's not working.
It's not working.
That's what.
It's a line off.
It has no mic. It has no mic input.
It did not work last week either.
Bro, when you can't put your finger on it, what do you guys do? What do you have to do to try to figure things out?
You got to trust your preparation. I think we do that. We trusted our preparation for the first game. It didn't work. We trusted our preparation for the second game. It didn't work. You can't just totally jump ship. It's not that time, and I don't think this team will ever do that, but it's just not that time. You got to prepare the same way you do every week, and I think the sense of urgency this past week was higher than it was the first week. Doesn't mean it wasn't high the first week, but I think it was higher this week, and I think it will increase even more. But it's if those guys want me to go out there and be the stern leader, then I'm willing to do that. And I got some of that from some of my teammates on the sideline, asking me to do some more things. Not necessarily change who I am as a person, but if they want me to be hard on them, I'll be hard on them. And when you start 0-2, it's a little bit harder to go about that. But I think it's what we need.
When you say being hard on them, just getting on them for mistakes or sloppy plays, or what are you talking about?
Yeah, I think we had sloppy execution these first two games in general, and we picked it up in the second half, and that's a good sign. But you got to play that way the whole game. They just. I'm hard on my teammates. You want them to be, you want to be the best. You want to make the plays. You want them to go out there and make the plays. And if I gotta do a little bit more to clean up that sloppiness, then I definitely will do it.
Robert, are defenses attacking you guys any differently than they did last year?
A little bit different. The first two games, both teams blitzed a little bit more than teams did last year, but it mostly shows up in the running game, which teams did blitz us a lot in the running game last year. That's their solution to trying to stop the run. So other than that, I think we just haven't had a chance to really get into a game plan being down so quick.
So on your end, then, is the offense being called and structured the exact same way pretty much that it was last year?
Yeah, I think everyone's pointing to the lack of QB runs, but if teams are going to give us the QB run, then we'll take it. If they're not going to give it to us, then we can't just run those plays.
So they're not there in halves of games? What's changing in the second half of the games, the last two? You guys start clicking in. What feels different?
I couldn't put a finger on that either. It's just whatever we're doing in the second half, we didn't do that in the first half.
When you run some of those
runs haven't been there, is that they haven't been there in either of those games? Or what are they doing to take that away?
Just the way they're playing the DNs and the way they're playing their safeties, that's what's taking it away. And I'm not just going to run to show people that I'm back. I think that's stupid, but it is what it is. If they're going to take that away, then we got to work other plays and then make those things happen. And eventually it'll come back, and the team that wants to give it to us will take it.
Robert, you talked about other your teammates and things like that, but when you talk about the first half performance, how much of that falls on your sharpness? Has it been where you want it to be, and why hasn't it been?
I thought I played. My sharpness was much better this game than it was last game. From the get-go, but all of that falls on me. I'm not going to point the finger at anybody else. It doesn't matter what goes on that field. I'm responsible for that. I'm the quarterback. Everyone's going to look at me, and that's what I do. You have to take that. You have to be willing to take that, and we'll be better. Period. If it's all on me, and no matter what happens this next game, it'll still all be on me, and I will make it happen. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out whatever it is that we're missing right now, and we'll make it happen.
Do you feel like you have to raise your level of play, in particular early in these games?
I think everybody does. Now, like I said, I'm not going to point the finger to anybody. If we're not starting fast, then it's my fault. If we're coming out in the second half and we're playing well, that's the team did a great job. So I'm not afraid to sit here and say, put that on my shoulders. I'll take that. We didn't start fast because of me.
Are you at the point where you're just playing now, or are you constantly in your head and thinking about things, I guess, during the game?
No, I thought we were playing, and it doesn't matter what the score is on the scoreboard. You have to be willing to go out there and play like it's going to be your last down, and that's what That's what we try to do.
No team can take away everything in the option game, so if they're taking away the running game, something else should be there.
Mm-hmm.
It should be there. It's not there right now.
I don't know how to answer that question either. We don't really run the option as much, but when they're taking away the quarterback runs, as far as on the zone read, then the back has to break break containment, or we got to get the blocks and then do that whole thing. So I don't know if that's necessarily the problem. I don't know if, we're not calling that enough. So there's nothing that you can really say that there's why the problem is.
Robert, have you guys planned? You talk about not running the option as much with the read option. Have you guys planned to run it more than you have, and the score hasn't allowed you, or has it not been as much a factor of these game plans as last year?
No, I think that's mostly the problem. Whenever you get down like that, you can't just sit there and run the zone read all day to try to get back into a game when you're down, as much as we were today and as much as we were on Monday night. So I think that's mostly the issue. It's in the game plan, and it'll be run if it's there.
Robert, you said that your teammates said they want you to be harder. Is that in your nature to be the tough guy with your teammates and to be the one that has to deliver that message?
I'm just not I'm not an a-hole. I believe in positive reinforcement. I want to, if a guy, if something happens, I know he'll make it up the next time he gets that chance, and that's just the way I lead. And if they want me to do that, I'm fine with doing that, because if they ask for it, if one of them asks for it, which it was just one, but if one asks for it, I'm willing to do it. And if that's what we need to get over this hump to move forward and start winning games, then I'm definitely going to do it.
I guess on a positive, what
That'll be the last one right here.
About Alfred and Garcon, both of those guys seem to be on their game today.
Yeah, I just those guys will tell you. I sat there next to Alfred when he was doing his interview. The individual success doesn't matter if you don't win the game. And proud of those guys for the way they played. Pierre played hard. He always plays hard. Alfred ran the ball extremely well, and that's due in part to the offensive line as well, and everybody getting their blocks. So you're proud of that for them. But as a team, we know we want to win.
Thanks, Robert. It's the last one, Dave. Right here. We got to go.
That your teammates are asking you to change your leadership style, and we're talking about 2 games in. From people on the outside, that might come across as, whoa, panic time. Mm-hmm. Explain how that's not. Explain how that's sort of. That's a pretty big thing to be saying 2 games in, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. It's not. They don't want me to change who I am as a person. I think you're the only one in this room who really feels that way, and they're snickering because of that. But it's just a matter of they love me as a quarterback and as a person, and you want to be able to relate to people. And Aaron got